That's why you have this beautiful accent. And I moved in here almost 5 years ago now. In December, it's going to be exactly 5 years. And I love living here. It's not sunny yet. Today is a special day. It's already 9 o'clock. Sun is still weighted. But hey, let me know where you are watching this from. If you are with us live, I would love to know where you are tuning in from. How is the weather and all of the things, because I want us to really relax to talk about this. You know, it sounds like a serious topic like that, leadership, but I want you to feel at ease to be able to receive all the information that I'll be sharing with you today. It's important for you to be at ease, to feel relaxed in your body. And even if you're at work, there is always a way to take a deep breath and just relax and listen. So today, our topic is, what type of leader are you? What type of leader are you? We will touch on 3 main points during the whole speech. And at the end, you will have an opportunity to ask questions or clarification or leave a comment. We'll take a few minutes to answer if we have any question. So feel free to take note and ask your questions. So we'll take care of them at the end of this presentation. The first point we will talk about will be, what is leadership? What is a leader? And then we will go ahead and differentiate the types of leadership that we have. And at the end, I will give you tools to make sure that you become a powerful leader. So those are the 3 points we'll touch on during this presentation. Why leadership? Why is it even a topic? Why do I want to talk about leadership? Leadership is really something that can get confusing sometimes. And for a long time, I was considered a leader and put in leadership positions without understanding what was happening. Even in high school, I will be given a leadership role for other students in the whole high school. And I wouldn't get it, because I was probably one of the youngest one in the midst of all the other candidates. First of all, they would push me to become a candidate because people always saw in me something that I didn't see. They always felt a leader in me. And sometimes I'll just wonder why. And then I would go with the flow. Maybe the people pleasing in me, I don't want to disappoint. So I would go and I will end up in the leadership position. Fast forward in the workplace, same thing. I will end up with the leadership position. And the last job I was working here at LAX, I was an account manager for an airline. Less than a year with the company, I became the manager. Never happened in the company before, the HR, but it happened again. People saw in me a leader and decided that I should be the leader. So how does that happen? How does that happen that without experience, without all the ducks in the row, without all the boxes checked on the paper, I was finding myself in leadership roles most of the time without being the best candidate on paper, most of the time without a lot of how did that happen in my head, and other people said how, when, it didn't make a lot of sense. But I kind of understood what was happening. It was deeper than what was on the paper. And we'll go touch into that a little bit more in this presentation. The first thing I want us to discuss about is, what is a leader? You can have different definition, your personal definition, definition that you find on the dictionary, on Google, anywhere else. But there is one that I really want to share with you that I love, and that I feel describes a little bit why people always see in me a leader. And that's why I want to talk about this topic, because it's kind of personal for me. I'm a leader without claiming it. People always see that in me. So what makes you a leader? What is a leader? The definition that I love is that a leader is a person that is able to guide and inspire other people. Guide and inspire. Those are 2 words that I really want you to hear. Guide and inspire. A leader is a person that is capable or has the ability to guide and inspire other people. Why is it so important? A leader is not somebody that is in a leader position, is in a leadership position. It's not about your title. You can even be the owner of the company, but that doesn't make you the leader of the team. You can be in charge, but that doesn't make you a leader. You can be the boss, but that doesn't make you the leader. You can be on top, but that doesn't mean you are the leader. You are a leader only if you are capable of guiding and inspiring the people that you are in charge of, you are responsible of. One example that I love to take is, as I mentioned, I'm originally from Cameroon. And over there, soccer is like a religion. I mean, it used to be when the team used to win. Now people kind of love to hate the team. But yes, so we used to have teams sometimes where we have a captain that is in charge. But in the team, you will have another player that is not the captain, that is not even the vice captain, but is the leader of the team. He will be the player that other players will go to when there is something happening going on in the team. They will not go to the captain. They will not go to the coach directly, or they will not go to the vice captain, whatever the hierarchy is over there. They will go to that specific player because that player was the real leader. He didn't have the title. He didn't have the position. He didn't have the responsibility, but he was seen as the leader in the team because people would go to him for guidance. People felt inspired by him. And it was really interesting to witness because now that person without a title will be the go-to person for the rest of the team. That just shows you how much the title doesn't really matter on how people perceive you, because you are not a leader for yourself only. You're a leader for a team. So the team has to recognize and see in you a leader. And what makes your team or the people you are leading as a leader? If you are capable of guiding and inspiring them. So I want to ask you, are you a leader based on that definition? Or are you just in a position of authority? Are you just in a position of leadership? Are you just the owner of the company? Do you just have the title that goes with it? Because that doesn't make you a leader. You have to be able to guide and inspire your team. What inspires you? Are you inspired? And are you able to inspire other people? Because nobody will follow anyone if they are not inspired to do so. And that will lead us to our second point today, which is the different types of leaders we have and leadership as well. We have many again, but I will choose just two for the sake of this presentation. The personal leadership, the personal leader, the leader on your own self, your own life, and the team leader, that type of leadership where you're in charge of other people. So those are the two types of leadership I want to talk about in this point. Before leading a team, before leading other people, are you leading yourself? How are you leading yourself? Are you a leader in your own life, for your own self? How inspired are you? What inspires you? Because again, you can be, the head of your family, or, the elder in among your siblings, whatever position you have, but you're first of all in charge of you. You're in charge of yourself first before being in charge of anyone else. How are you leading yourself? When time comes to make decisions in your life, how do you show up? Do you show up as a leader which is inspired? Can you guide yourself through challenges? Can you guide yourself through situations? And how do you show up in those situations that, life sometimes throws at us, or we manifest, we create ourselves? How do you show up when those times show up? How do you get inspired when there is no reason to be inspired in your life? What type of leader are you when things get rough? Doesn't mean you don't cry. Maybe a good leader should actually cry. Cry and stand up and keep going. Are you capable of doing those crazy, courageous things? When I moved in here, I had nobody waiting for me at the airport. I knew nobody in the US, and I didn't even speak English at the time, barely, maybe few sentences, because they teach us English in Cameroon, but outside of the classroom, you don't practice. So of course, you don't really know why they're teaching you English until you decide to move to the US. But it was a decision, a tough decision to make. It takes a certain level of leadership to make those kind of courageous moves. Nobody moves to a new country, or few people. Some people do, actually. I'm not the only one, but only few people can make those kind of decisions, life-changing decisions with courage and make it happen. That's a certain level of leadership, and that's personal leadership. I wasn't leading anyone. I wasn't inspiring anyone or guiding anyone to do something. It was me that wanted something, and I took the action that I needed to take. I had the courage to go through, to follow what I wanted. That's a leadership skill. That's how you lead yourself. If you're a good leader for yourself, you go for what you want. You go create the result you want for yourself. And when you come from that place of leadership in your personal life, it's easy for you to lead other people. Because if you can inspire yourself to take action on your desires, on your dreams, on your goals, you can inspire other people to follow along. And that's why it's so important. That's probably why all those years and in all those situations when I ended up in the leadership position, people saw that in me, that ability I had to lead myself in a certain way, to be a certain leader for myself. So they knew if she can lead herself this way, if she can be this leader for herself, we can trust her to lead us too. Because people are always looking for leaders. Not everybody can lead themselves, and we always need leaders. But what makes people choose you as a leader? What makes people see you as a leader, no matter what your position or your title is, maybe before even the position or the title? Or what makes people not see you as a leader, even when you have the position of the title, is when they look at you. They see in you the leader. So when they put you ahead of a team, maybe you create your own company. Now you're the owner. You have the leadership position. It's my business, my company. I'm the CEO. I'm the boss. Whatever you are. For people to really see in you their leader, you have to be your own leader first. They have to see that. Because if not, they will just, complete their task. They will not really be inspired. And there is a difference between people performing a task for your company, for your team, and people being inspired to really create the result you want them to create. At the airport, when I became the manager, I used to be a staff because I said it was less than a year before I became a manager. So I started at the bottom, and I had managers before I became a manager. So being in the team, like just a regular staff, I knew all the complaints and I knew exactly the feelings, how we felt about management, what people were complaining about. So when I became the manager, I had to, and it was really a tough position to be in because now people that used to be the people who were complaining together about how the management wasn't working that well, now we're looking at me as, oh, now she's on the other side, now what? And I was in that place of, I know the struggle down there. I know exactly the feeling. So now what? I was in the middle, but I also, had to lead myself through that difficult position I found myself into. So I started doing something really interesting. I started creating inspiration in people because that's the only way to get good result in your team. Inspire them. That team is mainly formed by students, which means millennials, and I'm a millennial too, but yeah, they were younger than me. So we know how fun it is to work with millennials. Really interesting. So most of them had no rent to pay. They were living with parents. So they had car payments. They wanted to have fun and all of the things. So I had to find a way to make them work after they got the hours they needed to make their car payment. Because that's what used to happen in the past with other managers that were just in charge and people didn't feel connected or inspired. No judgment, it's just what it was. So they will just make sure that, okay, I have worked this many hours, so my paycheck will be this. So I'll have enough money to pay for my car, to buy that nice shoe that I want and go watch that concert. So I'm good. They will start calling off. They will not want to work if, the manager asks them for, and they say, oh, no, I'm good. I have plans and all of the things. Because there was no inspiration. They were just there to perform a task, so they didn't go above what they were expected to do. They didn't go the extra mile because they didn't know why they had to do that. So it was just a difficult place to be. So I started doing something interesting. I started asking them, every briefing in the morning. For a few days, I really took the time to make sure that they got the idea. I was asking a simple question: why are you here? First, it was kind of funny. They were like, "Oh well, I have my car payment to make." They would tell me all those things. I say, all of that is valid. It's a good reason to get a job. At least you get to pay your own things. That's nice, but that's not why you're here. You are not here for the paycheck. Because if you just want the money for all the things you just mentioned, you can drive Uber. And you wouldn't be here wearing this uniform that I know how much I used to love and that you love. You wouldn't be here listening to me every morning. You wouldn't have to, follow my instructions. You will be driving your car when you feel like it, doing your own thing. You're making money, good money. Probably some people live just driving Uber. So I guess you're making good money, not sure. But I think so. So you have a car, so you could do that, right? Not have to wear uniform, not listening to me, all of that. So you're not here for the money because there's other ways you could make money without going through this. So why are you here? And that would make them think a little bit deeper. And now when we were able to create that deeper reason why they will show up at work, it will not now be them just showing up to, have their hours, make their money, which means I just do what I have to do for the day. I just come and look at my assignment for the day, I perform my task and I go home. Now they had something more, why they were there. So now they were inspired by something else that was deeper. And they started shifting. I started seeing the shift in the team because that's what leadership is. You have to be able to inspire your team. Not just, people are smart to be able to perform a task, really. If you show people what to do, they're smart enough to do it. But that's not what a team is. You don't want people to just be there to follow your instructions and get the job done. You want people that really genuinely want to do a good job. Because that's where, when they're inspired, they start not just performing the task you assign them to perform, they start coming up with ideas. And now your life becomes easier because you're not the only one now to come up with all the ideas. Now they are inspired enough, they feel like there is something more, they show up differently, and you feel your life become easier as a leader. Because now you have people that are following you. Now you are guiding people, you are taking people somewhere. You just don't have a bunch of task performers. Something else that was interesting with that team when I took over was that there was just few people that were responsible of main tasks. And I understand why previous management made those choices, because we were running international flights. And if we say flights, we know there is a lot of security, safety involved, people's lives at stake. So you cannot really play around. You want to make sure that the right people are doing the right thing all the time. There is no much room, for trial and error that much. It's really limited. So they will not trust much people to perform a certain task, which again wasn't really inspiring for the rest. Again, they were just like, okay, anyways, who am I? I'm just here to perform this and that. And it was really tough to have a team with only few people that can do certain things. So when you are a leader and you are in that position of inspiring and guiding people, if you do it properly, makes things easier for you and you get better results. But if you don't do it properly, if you do it from a place of fear and being extra cautious, you might make things harder on you, because then you have to carry all the load, which takes me to the third point of our speech today, which is what can make you a powerful leader? What will make you a powerful leader? So as I was saying, those managers were just, trying to make sure things go right, trying to make sure people knew what they did. And they didn't take much risk, which was understandable based on the position and the work we do. People's lives is really in our hands in those situations. But I came from a different place, because I understood this simple principle that I want to share with you in this last piece of what can make you a powerful leader. I realized that People usually lead or manage their teams with, their human skills. They don't see above what is visible. They don't go above what is written on paper. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that they don't know better. They just limit themselves to those skills of, if it looks this on paper, it means this. If this person, if they says this on this person on his resume or in the report from the supervisor, it probably means this. And they go by that, by the facts, by, what is written, and that's it. But I want to offer you something more powerful. If you remember, and maybe you have heard this and maybe it's the first time, whatever the case is, I want you to hear this again. You're 100% human and you're 100% divine. And it's important for you to remember that in your leadership. And I did. It's important for you to not only rely on your learned or acquired skills to lead. It's important to also rely on the part of you that knows things that nobody taught you, that can see things that your physical eyes are not seeing or other people are not seeing. That will make you a powerful leader because you'll be ahead of the game. When I took over that team, there were few people handling like serious or hard responsible positions. Again, I explain why. But I knew it was really not helping the team. It was making the team weak. And it was making my work as a leader harder. It was harder for me to get results because if you just rely on few people, they can only work so hard. They are human beings. They can have things happening in their lives. And it was terrible for them to have to come to work because no one else can do what they do. Not because they are the smartest one, not because there is no one else that can do it, but because nobody even trusted that, saw that in other people. And I started asking, why is this? Nobody, you have to ask for this. There is this procedure in place, but those people, you need this kind of skills to be able to perform this. But I was seeing above those skills that there was, that were written on paper. These are the skills required for this. I was seeing something in people, in some team members that nobody saw. And I remember sometime I will mention to supervisors in conversation, like, what do you think? We need more to train more people because we don't want to rely on few people to perform this. What if those people are not available? They are human beings. What if they are not available? Oh, but yeah, we'll be in trouble. Okay, we don't want to be in trouble. A leader should be able to see ahead. A leader should be able to plan ahead. A leader should be able to prepare for situations. And you can only prepare so much. That's what they were doing. They were just relying on what their eyes were seeing physically, what was written on paper. But when you see with your divine eyes, you can see things that are not showing in the physical realm. Oh, this one, definitely no. And I'll say, no, I see something in this one. This person can actually do it. No, there's no way. There is no way this person can do it. I said, I think the person can do it. I couldn't explain it because that's what happens when you start leading from a place of power where you remember that, hey, I'm not only this human that has to figure everything out on my own. There is something in me, there is a divine part of me that can help me see things that right now, maybe I don't see with my physical eyes. That can help me understand things that right now my brain cannot understand because nobody taught me this. Nobody prepared me for this. And I have that feeling, that knowing that I cannot really explain, but I just know. And it started happening. I was just saying, okay, this one, we should train this person for, no, you know what, forget it, because this person, I say, no, I feel like this person can do it. And sometimes I even go to the person, I say, hey, I feel like you can do this. And the person will be like, well, there is no way. What do you mean? And I say, no, there is a way, let's give it a try. And sure enough, that person will perform the task and it will be so wonderful. The person will be so happy. Now, again, I have team members that start seeing that, hey, there is opportunities for all of us. It's not only for a select group of people, now we all are part of something that can get big at any time for any one of us. They started feeling more connected, and HR shared with me at some point that the resignment rate went really low. And she asked me, what did I do? And I just explained, I think people just feel more engaged. They feel like they belong to something. That's why when you're a leader, you have to be able to inspire people, not just by talking, but really by making them feel like they can listen, they can trust you, they can follow you as a leader. So when people started seeing that, hey, there is opportunity for me to grow, I'm not stuck here like I'm just limited to certain things because they don't see potential, or maybe I don't see potential in myself. There is a way for me to grow. And this woman right there, when she comes to me and say, hey, what do you think about doing this thing? Sometimes it's scary, but what if I listen? Because now there is trust. Now it seems like I know what I'm doing. Now it seems like I'm not that crazy after all, right? Even though I cannot always explain where I'm coming from with the things I'm putting into place. That's why it's so important. That's something that will make you really powerful. Above everything you will learn. We had a lot of training in the company for managers and all of the things. But that's a tool that really helped me because I was also handling a difficult account, a difficult client. And I was able to get results that even the vice president of our company was asking me, how come, that client even complains? He always made the lives of other managers so miserable. What about you? And I would just smile because I wasn't able to explain that I do something crazy, which is connect with the divine part of me and get guidance and get, leads and just follow my intuition, if you want to call it like that, my inner knowing. And I know that's something we all have. We have always that thing that comes up, and sometimes we follow, sometimes we don't. And when we don't, and something happens that, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I just know for some reason I didn't do it. We all have that. It's just a matter of connecting to it. It's just a matter of consciously tapping into that energy within us to start leading from that place of power, where you know things nobody tells you. It makes your team stronger because from that place, I was able to make the team stronger, not just for me. Of course, when the team was stronger, it made my life easier because now people were so inspired, were so motivated that they would even offer to work on things I wasn't asking them to work on. And I was so impressed by to see that shift, because remember, I used to be in the crowd and I knew exactly the feeling. I don't care if it is not on my task for the day, I'm out, right? But now seeing them come to me and say, hey, can we help? We're seeing you doing this and this is happening. How can I help? Can I do this? I said, but your time is up. No, that's fine. I can stay, it's okay. The dynamic was completely different. It was completely different, which obviously got more results because now people inspired, they are going without you having to be behind them. And we are talking about millennials here. Lovely, right? So to see them do things without you having to ask them, to see people go the extra mile, perform. The more people you have able to do things, to perform things, because you trust them, because you see potential in people that on paper had no potential, but you saw beyond physical eyes and you saw in them something maybe they didn't even see themselves. Now you have more trained people, which makes your team stronger and which gets you more results. Now the stress on you is low or close to zero. Things feel easier because now one is not there, the other one takes over. No more stressing out of how we're going to make this happen. And that was just for my team, but I don't know, you can have a different team, a different style. Maybe you just have a VA, whatever, some entrepreneurs just getting started, maybe you just have a VA. It's still a team for you. The more capable you are to tap into that inner knowing, into that divine energy within you and lead from that place, the more results you get. And the better the results are, the more sustainable the results are. You keep your team longer because now that they're inspired by the leader you are, you can guide them where you want them to go. They will follow. They will be happy to follow because they're inspired. And where does actually your inspiration come from? That's something I want to finish on. I don't know how long I have left, but that's something I want to close with. Where does your inspiration come from? Sometimes we're inspired by seeing what other people are doing around us, especially as entrepreneurs. We are getting started, so we look around and see what other people are doing, and we want to do the same thing because we think that's the right thing to do. Sometimes it's good to look around, but the main inspiration point you have to focus on is, again, to tapping into that divine energy in you, to get the right inspiration. Because if you're inspired by things happening around you, there is a good chance it's going to be hard for you to get there, because it's not yours, it's not your inspiration. Your inspiration comes from within yourself. And if you are not connected to that part of you that tells you, hey, let's do this, and if you are too afraid to follow, you are that leader that is not inspired by himself or herself. If you are that leader that doesn't take courageous action based on the inspiration they have, it's going to be hard for you. So to make things really easy on yourself, to get results easier and faster, be that leader that leads yourself first, from that place of getting inspiration from within, being connected to that divine part of yourself that will show you things that your physical eyes cannot see it. Be that leader, like the brothers Wright, that saw an aircraft fly when the whole world was like, this is crazy, what are they even thinking? On paper, they were not even engineers, so it made no sense for them to be working on that. But they saw above physical eyes, and they were able to make a difference in the world. And that's what leaders do. They make a difference. And for you to make that difference in your own life, in your team, in the world, you have to lead from a place of power. And it's easier and it gets fast when you use your knowing from as a human being, the training, the learnings, the tools, and all of that. And you also rely on that invisible part of you that gives you access to a knowledge, to tools, to informations that your brain cannot know right now, that your eyes cannot see right now. And maybe the whole world around you cannot see. But you can, from that place, inspire your team and guide them surely to get results in the easiest and fastest way possible. So I don't know if I went too long on the time or not. Maybe somebody can guide me on that. But that's what I wanted to share with you today.
No, you can continue if you want, Crystal. If you have some other points to say, we have time.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know if we have questions so far. Do we have
We
questions?
don't have yet anything right now, but yeah, if we have, I'll let you know.
Okay. So to the point of our question today, which is, what type of leader are you? I hope this will really help you think about it. What type of leader are you? Because the question here is not, are you a leader? We all are. As I was mentioning, even if you don't have a team to lead, you're leading yourself. You are your own leader. So the question here is not, are you a leader? And don't look at your title or your position, none of it. Are you a leader is not the question here, but what type of leader are you? Are you a powerful leader? Are you an empowered leader? Are you an inspired leader that can inspire others? Are you a leader that is guided to be able to guide other people? Where does the inspiration come from? What inspires you? And how do you inspire others? How do you act on your inspiration? Will help you also guide other people to act on the inspiration you have for your team, for your company. We have visions, we have goals. You know, if you have a company, if you are in leadership position in your company, you have a vision for your company. You have a vision, goals to achieve, results you want to create. That's the whole purpose of entrepreneurship or even corporate. We have results to create. And we can create those results by working really hard. That's the dialogue, right? Work hard, get it done, keep pushing even when things get rough. Even if it's challenging, just keep pushing, keep, putting some blood and sweat, and, ultimately you get there. That's a way. Not the easiest way, but that's a way. A lot of people have that story of, I worked really hard and here I am today. That's an option. You can lead from that place of, working extra, hustling, and all of that. But my invitation for you today is to be an empowered leader that gets results in the easiest and fastest way possible. And it gets really easy. I promise. It gets really easy when you don't put all the weight, all the load on your little human. It gets so much easier when you tap into that inner knowing, into that. I would love to call it divine energy. You call it what you want, but I know you know what I'm talking about, because we all have that little thing that tells us things that we can't explain. Sometimes it's sunny outside and you have that, I thought of taking an umbrella and you're like, what do you mean? It's sunny, right? And your brain gets in the way and you're like, forget it. But you go out, few hours later, it starts raining. And then you're like, oh, I thought about taking an umbrella. It didn't make sense at the time. Now it's raining. So we all know what I'm talking about here. But instead of you just witnessing afterward what happened, like, oh, I thought about it, but I didn't now look. Instead of just being a witness, what will make you a powerful leader is consciously tap into that infinite source of information. The leaders that made a difference in the world, I mentioned one of them, the brothers Wright. Those were leaders. They were able to lead themselves, to go follow through that vision they had, that crazy vision they had. And nobody can convince me that they saw that with their brain. There was no way, because their brain probably told them, you are not engineers, my friends. You are just bicycle mechanics, and bicycles don't even have engines. So what are you even thinking? Their brain probably got them into that conversation that we all know. But they were leaders, strong leaders on themselves to say, we are going. It doesn't make sense, but we are going. We feel that there is something here. We're going to follow this inspiration. They led themselves, even when everybody thought it was crazy. They led themselves through that. Though that's the kind of leader that makes a difference in the world. That's the leaders. Those are the leaders that actually make a difference. Same, Thomas Edison. Did it make sense for somebody to try for so long to get the result? But he had a vision in his mind. Leaders are visionaries. He had a vision. And again, I don't think that vision was coming from something he saw around him, because we didn't have a light bulb at the time. So there was no way he saw it somewhere else. He wasn't inspired by something in the world. The inspiration came from somewhere higher than that. Something higher than that. There was something in him that saw what physical eyes could not see yet. There was something in him that knew something that his brain didn't know yet. And he was leader enough to go to follow that inspiration. Today we have the light. Those are the leaders that make a difference. So my question again will be, what type of leader are you? Are you an inspired leader? And what inspires you? Are you able to inspire other people? And how do you inspire other people? You don't decide to start inspiring. People are more inspired by watching you being inspired. People are more inclined to be led by you by watching you lead yourself. We all know that they say you lead by example. That's what it is. But it's really a way of being. It's not you trying to trick people and, trying to be someone at home that cannot lead yourself and coming at work trying to become. That's where people feel like, there's something off here. I don't really like this person. You are too bossy. You are too this, because you are trying so hard to be leaders, to prove that we are leaders, to be in charge, when it could be easier. But it's all started by leading yourself first. And the more connected you are with your divine part, I want you to open your mind to this. The more connected you are to your divine part, the more inspired you will be, because you will have visions for yourself, for your team, for your company. That will make a difference, a real difference, because I know that's your goal. And you will get there faster and easier if you lead yourself and you're able to lead other people through inspiration and by guiding them. So I hope this was helpful. And now on, you'll be able to be an empowered leader. And if you want to go deeper in the topic, if you want to stay connected, you can find me on LinkedIn, Crystal Biga, social media, everyone, Crystal Biga. And we can go further in the conversation of what type of leader are you and what type of leader do you want to be? So thank you so much for your time. I don't know if we still don't have questions, but I'm done with my presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Crystal. So I have one question. So how
Yes.
to tap into that, that invisible? What are the techniques that you personally use to tap more into that invisible, power?
Okay, the things that I started using was to pay attention to how I feel. We are used to hearing, cut toxic people from your life, stay away from this type of people, whatever. But my mentor taught me something really powerful that made a huge difference. When somebody does, and we know when we work in a team, we have a team, triggers are everywhere, it's just, you can't escape. But the way we react usually is either we, as managers and leaders, we sanctions, or if we in our personal life, we cut people off, you know, to avoid to feel, to avoid to be hurt, to avoid to be disappointed. And that's probably the reason why the previous manager before me in that company were doing, try avoid to be disappointed. So pay attention to how you feel. And we are not used to that. We don't want to feel. We don't want to feel the pain, the disappointment, the frustration. We do not. So we do anything possible to not feel. And that's what started disconnecting us from that divine part, to answer your question. How do you tap into it? To going back and paying attention to how you feel. Every time you want to make a decision, do you really want to do it, or you do not? You are just doing it from a place of, I should do it. It seems like the right thing to do. Am I coming from my brain here, or is it really something that I feel like I want to do? Sometimes people tell you, yeah, but you have to make the things that are difficult for you to grow. And I love to say there's a difference between being afraid to do something and not wanting to do something. If you do not genuinely want to do it, there's a reason. You have to trust yourself and not do it, even though the whole world is doing the same thing. That's how you start tapping into that energy, listening, paying attention to how you feel about things, and being clear on that. If I'm afraid, I'm going to do it afraid. I used to tell my clients, if you feel like throwing up, throw up and go do it. But if it's really like, I hate this, don't do it anyways, because that's the wrong place to be. You're not listening. You're not tapping into it, because there is, even if you cannot explain why you don't want to do it, don't try to. That's how you start connecting to that divine part of you that will just tell you, this is not the right way. This is not the right path. There is no other way. You can really start looking around and finding the answers. You just practice paying attention to how you feel. Paying attention. Sometimes little things that I started doing was when I want to wear something in the morning, maybe before a presentation like this or before my own show, I will open my dressing and look at clothes. And the one the one I want to wear, I will just wear it no matter what. Sometimes your brain can get in the way and be like, but this doesn't look this for this occasion. But you should not wear this for this type of situation. You shouldn't. That's how you get disconnected when you get into your head. Always follow that little voice. The more you practice, it's like every relationship. You practice spending time together. You practice learning to know each other. Start paying attention. Every time you have that little, it's always soft. It's really soft. There's not something that will come and force you to do anything. It's just a little thought you have, a feeling you have, a knowing you have. It's like you meet somebody and you just feel off, or you feel connected, something. Start paying attention. When you meet people, always stay in your body and feel how you feel when you see somebody for the first time. What are the emotions that come in? That's how you start tapping into that and knowing. When you go in the morning, you see your team, you have a task, you have a project in the table. When people present ideas, how do you feel about those ideas? Don't get into your head about what should I do, what other people are doing. How do I feel about this? And listen, pay attention. When you start listening, you start hearing more. It's really how you start tapping into that energy, because we all have that. We all have. When I saw that person, I felt like something was off. How do you feel that? How do you feel that you don't know the person? That's what I'm talking about. Start paying attention, and don't try to make it make sense, because it doesn't. Just follow. Just start in little things. What do I want to wear? Little things. The more you practice that, the more connected you are. And you find yourself in meeting rooms in your company there and hearing guidance, and you start giving great ideas that will just light your whole team up. But because you practice listening, the little things, that little voice, letting that intuition, that inner knowing guide you in every step during your day. So I hope that helps.
Thank you. Thank you for the different perspective.
Yeah, connecting with that. Thank you so much, Crystal, for giving those different ideas, different way of looking at it. But one question from your other, the one that you explained, that many a times it happens that when you connect very well with something or someone, and then in the long run, it doesn't go that, that connection doesn't, is not reciprocated. Maybe you trusted that person so much, or you felt very good vibe, and then the most of the disappointment comes from that person, and then you are more hurt than what you have, if you would have kept that basic head knowledge on, then you would not have got disappointed. So how does you take a leadership stand and detach, or how does that work, or what would be your advice for that?
I love that question so much. I love that question so much because when you feel like you are disappointed, oh, I thought this person was this way, but then look, if you are honest with yourself, if you are a leader enough to own it, you will know from the moment you met that person something new. Maybe you felt connected because that person checked the boxes on the checklist you had in your brain. Oh, they look this, they sound this, and probably if you just look back, because I have been in those situations where I shut off that little voice because all the things were, looking so good. I was like, no, you don't even listen, you don't even pay attention. And then you go with that emotional state of, but they look this, they look that. When deeper, there was something that just, and maybe you judged it. Why she seems nice, he looks nice, why don't you give him a chance, why don't you don't go? And then when you shut it out, the first second it happens, as I said, it's really soft. It doesn't force you to do anything. Maybe it's going to be a few seconds that you shut down, and now, okay, go your way, go learn. Maybe you attracted that person in your life to learn a lesson that person will teach you, who knows, right? But then along the way, after now you're going with your emotions, you realize that, whoa, something is off here. This person is really hurting me, or I'm disappointed. It's not what I expected. If you're honest, sometimes you will look back and realize that, oh, there was something there that I didn't want to look. I didn't want to see at the time, but it was there. I knew. We always know. We always know. And also, the second perspective I'll give on this one is the people we feel like they hurt us or they disappoint us, they make us feel so bad, are our saviors sometimes. I'm not saying that you should stay with all the people in your life that don't do you any good. I'm just saying that when you allow them in your life, when they are in your life, during the time they're in your life, before you actually make a decision to let them go, you use those opportunities to grow as a leader. You use that opportunity. That's what I was talking about. How do you lead yourself through tough times? Those are tough times in your personal life. When you have somebody in your life, it can be a partner, it can be a friend, it can be a coworker, it can be a boss, it can be, a teammate, whatever it is, any relationship. How do you lead yourself through that situation? A real leader always takes ownership, responsibility. That's real leadership. You take responsibility of the situation. But nobody teaches us that. We have to point the finger. It's your fault. You are doing this to me. That's giving away your power. You are not a leader if somebody's doing something to you. You are not in your leadership position at that moment. A leader is leading the situation. So which means you take full and absolute responsibility in any situation that goes on. Even if it looks like somebody's doing something to you, always ask to yourself, where did I give away my power for this to happen? Where did I allow this to come into my life and why? Look within yourself. That's real leadership, taking full responsibility. I know it sounds crazy, but this person is doing this. It's never about the other person. Sometimes it drives my friends crazy when I do that, but it's never about the other person, what the other person is doing, how they are doing it. It's never about it. Always comes down to you and how are you leading yourself? Because if they make you feel a certain way, you are not in your power. You are not leading yourself. You are giving them the leadership position in your life. They are making you feel a certain way. So they are leading you where they want. It's not about them. Where are you not in your power in your life? Where did you lose that power? And so that's why sometimes it takes energy work, and sometimes it takes for people to heal from stories that happen in their life, in their childhood, where they lost their power based on a situation, a trauma that happened. They gave away they lost their power due to that, and they grow up, they forget about all of that. But because they lost their power somewhere, that person now comes and poke a hole. You have a hole in you, and that person pokes that hole, and now you're blaming the person. If there is no hole, there is nothing the person will do that will make you feel a certain way. Nobody can make you feel a certain way unless you allow that to happen. Where are you not leading for the person to be leading you in that situation? When you heal, when you are whole, when you are leading yourself at all times, do people trigger you? It can happen, but every time they trigger you, stay in your leadership role and ask to yourself, where am I not in my power enough for this person to make me feel this way? If they make me feel this way, that means they are leading me at this moment. How can I get back in my leadership role right now? Never make it about the other person. When you get back to your leadership role at that moment, when you take for, you say, okay, maybe this was, maybe I had this story running in my head that I deserve this, I don't deserve good. I don't, maybe based on what happened to me. I have a friend to just help you understand this better. She was complaining all the time about, I don't understand. I'm so nice to people. I'm so good. And people always act this way. Look at what just happened again. This person again that I did this. Look at what she's doing to me now. You know, she wasn't a business partner to her. You know, I told her, trade her, I did this, I did that, I was so nice. And look, she betrayed me. I'm so disappointed. Exact same thing that happened with the previous one. And I was listening. And then when she finished ranting and, you know, showing how people were terrible and she was so nice to everybody and nobody was nice, I asked her this question. When was the first time you felt betrayed? She was like, what do you mean? I said, no, because this person didn't betray you. Or maybe she did, but you feel betrayed. She did what she did. Maybe she didn't mean to betray you. She just acted a certain way, but you feel betrayed. That's what we have to realize. In every situation is the meaning we give to actions that make us feel a certain way. So people can do so, like most of the time people do something, you get hurt, I didn't mean it. Of course, because they didn't mean it. Sometimes they didn't. But you feel a certain way because you interpret it a certain way based on the story you have already. It's really not about what they're doing. It's based off the story you have that now triggers you every time somebody acts a certain way. That story comes back and now you're hurt, you're disappointed, and you cry and all of the things. But it's never about the person. Because if your story was different, you will have never felt that same way. So I asked her that, and it will happen like crazy. And she remembered an incident when she was in high school, not in high school, in first grade. She had a group of friends and she thought they were her friends. And then there was a bully in their school that was two times her size and decided to beat her up one day. and her friends were watching. Nobody, stepped in to defend her or to protect her. They were all standing there watching, and she felt betrayed and abandoned by her friends. She grew up with that story of my friends always betray me, my friends don't have my back, my friends, don't stand up for me. She forgot about the story, of course. She's growing, and she just started noticing, oh, yeah, I don't understand why people always act this way. I don't understand why I'm nice to, and then this would happen again because of the story she was carrying. And then when I remind her, she went back to that story. I said, this is what happened. This is the day you decided that your friends betray you, let you down, don't have your back, don't stand for you. And that's your story. And guess what? As long as it's your story because you are the leader of your own life, you're going to lead your life based on that story, which means your friends will betray you to confirm the story. Your friends will not have your back to confirm your story. So to answer your question, it's really simple. Never make it about other people. That, oh, they did this, oh, I did, and then look at them. It's never about them. It's always about you. You see events, you interpret things, or you feel a certain way based on your own story, based on your own woundings, based on your own traumas or your own experiences. It's never about other people. So always ask that's a powerful question. Where did I give away my power? Where did I when did I give away my power for this to happen? Instead of making it about the person. So I hope this answers your question.
Crystal, it does not only answer my question, very powerful points you have mentioned. Very, very powerful points. Thank you so much. And it was like bang on, one after the other. I think it makes so much sense. And very well said, I would say. Definitely it answered, and it very well said in a practical way, which we can, whenever things are not going the right way, what we think, we can always think back and sort it out. Yeah. Any question from anybody? Before that, just wanted to let you all know that we have these webinars every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 12 to 1 p.m. EST. And so for tomorrow, we will have our webinar on live. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which it will be on introduction and career aspects in data science, applications of data science and various career options in it. So, and on Thursday, we have live and integration of one verse at a time, a 5C model of decision drivers to live your passion using verses. So a very different kind of topic. So yes, if you do want to check us out, please do join in and participate, give your feedback. And if you have any suggestion or you want to be a guest speaker, then you can even email us at webinar@LetUsTalkIt.com. And we also have our Let Us Talk It Youth series every Saturday. It will be this Saturday also from 4 to 5 p.m. EST. And the topic will be on books, the ones that you like, and I mean the youth they like, and why they like it. So on those topics on books, and it has the part one has already happened last week Saturday. So if you want to check that out, you can do so. And if you're if you're a parent or you have a kid who is interested, you can email us at webinar@letustalkit.com. And we also have these yoga sessions every Wednesday and Sundays. Wednesday from 9 to 10 p.m. EST and Sundays from 10 to 11 a.m. EST. So yes, with all that information, there any question, any feedback, anything? Vamshi from YouTube or Facebook? Okay, if not, then we are, 6 minutes past the hour. So thank you so much, Crystal, for being so, candid and making the point so well delivered. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, audience, for joining us today as well.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you so much. Thank you.